Welcome to Beauty After Dark, where we discuss beauty in life's toughest of times. I am your host, Crystal West, and our special guest today is DeArika Binion.
Hello.
So today on Beauty After Dark, we are going to be talking about beauty after incarceration. But before we begin, we're going to start off with an icebreaker question. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to pick one of these and answer them. Just anyone. What it say?
What's something you're good at that could help make someone's day or even the whole world better?
I can answer that for you. But go ahead.
What? How would you answer?
I would say your cooking, your hospitality. Those are the first two things that pop in my head because when you do like an event or even when you host up at your house, it's always very welcoming and you include like everybody's included within everything. But you can answer.
I do enjoy hosting. I would say my kindness and niceness. Like I try to be nice to everyone that I encounter because you never know what someone's going through. Like someone can be having a bad day, just giving like a simple compliment. Someone can have low self-esteem and not get compliments a lot. So whenever I speak to people, I'll be like, "Oh, hey, beautiful," or "Hey, you look cute." Like always tell, especially women, like how cute they are, girls, how cute they are.
You didn't greet me like that. So I'm just trying to figure this out. But okay, go ahead.
She's lying. She knows she can.
But that is good. You are a very, very kind person. I think it's just your whole personality. So that's why I was like, I can answer.
But you have to get to like I'm extremely shy. So sometimes that can come off as like, oh, she's mean because she didn't speak. But I'm like very, very shy to the point where I like be nervous around people that I don't. A lot of people don't know. If you know me, you've broken that ice, so you know a different side of me. But if you don't know me like that, then
because you do so well with like everything when you in front of the camera, even with like the reels you create, like everything you do so well. So I'm quite sure people watching gonna be like, "What?" They gonna be shocked. But okay, alrighty. Well, let's get into it. So where should we start? Let's talk about the indictment.
So the FBI came to my house. So they they put in handcuffs myself and my boyfriend. We were the only adults in the house. So after a while, I was
were the kids?
Yes.
Oh.
So after a while, I was like, am I in cuffs because I'm an adult? Because they were talking to him about whatever investigation they had on him or what he was being charged with. And I'm just sitting there in cuffs. So I'm like, am I in cuffs because I'm an adult or are you charging me with something? And they were like, we're charging you with something. And the charge that they told me they were charging me with was so far-fetched. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So they took us down to the federal building downtown. I didn't find out what I was really charged with until like 5 minutes before going in front of the court. Like it felt like it was all just a case was just thrown together at that point.
Oh.
So then that's when they told me that I was being charged with bank fraud. And I'm like, what? Like I was so confused. Like, what do you mean bank fraud? So when they give you the paperwork of your indictment, that's when they're listing the charges for my EIDL loans.
Okay.
And so a lot of people don't know the difference between PPP loans and EIDLs. I had EIDLs. I've never had a PPP loan. The PPP loans were the loans that people got.
They had the grants with it or something. Like I remember.
Yeah, and you get them, and then you didn't have to pay them back. They really weren't. They were. I think it was paycheck protection loans.
Yeah.
So they were supposed to be to cover your employees. I didn't do that. I had an EIDL loan, which was an economic impact disaster loan. So this is a loan that I'm paying back, that I have to pay back, that I was paying back.
Okay.
So those are what my charges were for. I had 5 charges.
Okay. So then after October, did they keep you or did they?
No, I was there for a couple hours. They released me on my own recognizance. So
they didn't really want you.
Exactly. Now, and that's what people don't understand. 95% of me being charged and indicted had nothing to do with me. This was all for someone that I was connected to.
Yeah.
So, and that's what people need to understand when you're connected to someone, whether it's boyfriend, husband, friends, because I've had so many people reaching out to me after my situation letting me know like how they got indicted, their friends were being investigated, and then
wow, they was taking everybody.
Yes, yeah. And then they got indicted. You just have to know who you're connected to and what they have going on that can, hinder you, where you can be pulled into it.
Yeah.
And unless you're holier than thou and have never done anything, if the feds want to you, I feel like I was used as and anybody who knows the situation, family, friends, close people, I was used as a pawn.
Right.
So if they want the FBI, they can find anything on you. Selling food stamps is illegal. Buying stolen clothes from a booster is illegal.
So it's gonna find anything.
Yeah, if they can find something, if they can find something, they can use you. And a lot of times with the government, they'll use women for men. They'll say, okay, we have the mother of your children or your wife. Give us some information and we'll drop these charges on her.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot of, not saying that's what happened in my situation. I don't really know what they came at him with, but a lot of times that's how they use women.
Yeah, and that's very unfortunate. So yeah. So okay, so after that, then let's fast forward to when they took you.
Okay. So, well, there's stuff in between.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
So I ended up meeting with the prosecutor. So basically, and me summing it up, I felt like they were investigating me to see if I had anything to do with what they were accusing him of. And so, and he has an open case that's still going on, so I don't want to discuss anything with his case.
Right.
But the one thing about the FBI, you can't hide anything from them. They know, they're watching. If they indict you, that means they've been sitting around watching you. They know what you do every day. So these are FBI agents that will literally probably see me waking up at 7 a.m. and me and my son working all day until midnight. Like everyone knows I'm a super hard worker.
Yeah.
My businesses that I had the EIDL loans for, they're legit businesses.
Yeah.
90% of St. Louis and every other city had PPP loans, EIDL loans, and didn't even have businesses. My businesses were legit.
And you said you were paying on your stuff, so it was like, that was pointless. So that, that's crazy.
Even when I met with the prosecutor, she told me, she said, I know you're a hard worker. She said, I just needed to make sure you didn't have hand in anything going on, any other things going on. And she actually agreed to do a diversion program, which is where my charges would eventually be dropped. I wouldn't do any jail time, and I wouldn't have any record. Like I wouldn't get get not charged. What is the word?
Expunged? Is that what it is?
Not expunged.
Okay, let me let you talk.
Convicted. I wouldn't have the conviction.
So what I was thinking. When your charges, getting off topic, focus.
Expunges when you get the charges, like later on, you're convicted and everything, and then I think you can get them expunged where they don't show.
Okay, so I was kind of on the right path, but not quite. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So she had agreed to a diversion. So, excuse me. So we were, I thought we were all good to go. Now, this is where I screwed myself over.
Okay.
And I always take accountability in everything that I do. So I was booked, I'm a decorator. I was booked to do a wedding, and it was out of town. It was on a cruise ship. So my lawyer we had already spoke with the prosecutor. She had agreed to do the diversion program. So it's like, these charges are going to get dismissed. In my mind, I wouldn't think she would have an issue with me traveling. Right. So I put in a request to travel.
Oh, what I thought you was. Oh, okay.
So I put in a request to travel. It was like a week or two. I still hadn't heard anything back. I'm like asking my lawyer, what did they say? He was like, he hadn't heard anything back. So instead of doing what I should have done and waited for them to either approve or reject, I went out of town anyway. And 2 days after I went out of town, they rejected my travel request. But it's like these are the type of games that they play. Why would you have an issue with me traveling if you're agreed to a diversion where you'll drop the charges?
That's crazy.
So once my travel was rejected and I went out of town, Homeland Security notified. I guess, when you're I was on pretrial. it's like pretrial probation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it comes up in the system. So they notified my probation officer that I had went out of town.
Mm.
And so she put in a request to revoke my bond. So once your bond is revoked, the feds, they don't do like state where you can put up money, put up a house. You're not getting a bond or you're getting a pretrial bond. That's the only bond you can get.
Mm-hmm.
So once that bond is revoked, you have to sit in jail. So they revoked my bond.
But you were out.
Yes.
Still, right? Okay, okay.
So this was March. This is the day after 314 day. So March 15th, I was at my store downtown, and the U.S. Marshal showed up like they were looking for Bin Laden, and locked me and told me that I had a warrant for my arrest. And I'm like,
so they had that many people just to come. They wanted to cause a scene. That was ridiculous.
So they were like, I had a warrant for my arrest. So they arrested me. And then that's when I found out my bond was revoked. And so I'm thinking like, okay, I'll go in front of a judge. They'll reinstate the bond. Like, we're letting them know we had this diversion in place. It's not like I went out of town and did something illegal. I went out of town for work. I came back. Nothing happened. I didn't catch another charge or, something like that. So I was thinking, I'm going to get right back out. Honey, when I went to court, the judge was like, no, it was like she was pissed. She was like, no, we're not reinstating your bond. And so when you're in a situation like that, and I've told everyone who has reached out to me that are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
When you're on pretrial, take it serious because I didn't. I put myself in a messed up situation. Do what those people tell you to do because once your bond is revoked, you sit there. So you either have to take it to trial now or plead guilty. And if you know anything about federal trial, you're going to sit for at least a year. I know people who are waiting on federal trials and have been waiting for almost 10 years.
That's crazy. So
you're going to sit for at least a year. So my lawyer had spoke with the prosecutor. Like the prosecutor knew I'm a hard worker. Like my loans, I was charged with bank fraud. The thing with bank fraud is you can apply for a loan and say my birthday's August 16th. If I accidentally put August 15th, that's fraud because that information doesn't match. It's fraud. So with my applications, I got 2 loans. I got a total of $70,000 in the year 2020. And please note, the year 2020 is when I got the loans. Okay. So when I applied for the loans, this was when the pandemic first kicked off and the loans first opened up. Like everyone was doing the application. There were so many people doing the application. And if people don't know, you can look online and type in a person's name and see if they got a loan. Really? It's public information because it's a government funding. Oh, so the PPPs and EIDL loans, you can see who
all got one. Yeah.
And this is St. Louis. You know who had a business or not. So you know who got it. Fraud. Yeah. So it's the audacity of a lot of people.
To be talking about.
So, but anyway, so with my applications, so with my employees, I give them the option of, do you want to get paid under the table? This is where I mess up. I give them the option of, do you want to get paid under the table or do you want to be on payroll? And I do that because they take a lot out of your check.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I've employed young girls, young mothers, teenagers, young people, they want their full check. So all of my employees wanted to get paid under the table. So the thing is, when you pay under the table, you're supposed to 1099 your employees. I did not. That's where I messed up. So when I went to go file my taxes, I didn't have any payroll taxes. So once you file your taxes, you don't have 1099, so you don't have payroll taxes. So on your taxes, it looks like you had no employees because you didn't pay any payroll taxes.
Right. So that makes sense.
On my application, it said that I had I can't even remember, maybe 3 employees. But on my taxes, it says I had none because I didn't do any 1099s or payroll taxes. So that's fraud. That's considered fraud. And what a lot of people don't know, you know, they read these headlines and these fluffed up stories that these so-called news reporters,
it's horrible.
that they put out. They never put out the full picture of everything.
And they take certain things, like when they put out the story, it's like, oh, this is the only story. This is what you have to believe.
They try to make it look as worse as they can. They try to fluff it up. So they don't put the full story. One of my loans, like it said that my income was like $100,000. My income was actually double that. So I could have
like, first of all,
so I could have qualified for more for the loan. It was just, and this is my fault. It was me doing I actually had someone else do the loans for me, but they just put in whatever numbers or whatever. You know, when this pandemic kicked off, there were so many people doing the loans for different business owners. Like, hey, we know how to do the loan. This was something that was foreign to us. And if you ask my dad, he would say everyone was railroaded. This was a setup. But this was something foreign. Like, Black owners weren't getting business loans. A lot of Black business owners don't even know how to apply for a loan. So there were people who were processing these loans. So when your information doesn't match up, that's considered fraud. But people take it as like, oh, you're living above your means, or you got this loan and you couldn't afford this loan. My loans were paid back. And let me rephrase that. They were being paid back. I don't want anyone to think that I had paid them completely off. They were being paid back. None of my loans were late. They were never in default with the SBA. From the moment the SBA made the loans due back, because they were deferred for like a year or a year and a half, from the moment they made them, you had to pay them back. I started paying my loans back.
So they really, the FBI really, they definitely use you. Because this could have like, girl, why am I here? And I'm paying on this. So how long did you sit?
So I sat once we figured out that they were not going to reinstate my loan, reinstate my bond, my lawyer went to the prosecutor and like, hey, you were getting ready to do the diversion, which would drop the charges. So would you agree to no jail time for her? And she said yes. So if she pleads, then we'll agree to no jail time.
Okay.
And listen, I have 4 kids. You could tell me to plead guilty to murder. And if I'm going to get out and go to my kids, I'm pleading guilty. I'm pleading guilty. So I went and pled. So I had to sit for sentencing. And this is another thing in the FBI, in the feds, you can be you can plead and you can still take 6 months to be sentenced. Luckily, I had no pushbacks, no reschedules of trials. I was sentenced in exactly 90 days, which is the minimum of time you would have in between. Yes, I was very blessed. God looked out for me in so many ways. I was very blessed. So when I went to go get sentenced, we had the agreement in place that I would not do jail time, and I got out that day. And I was back to my kids.
Yes, and back to eating. Going out to eat. So let's talk about when you were actually in jail. Because I know you have 4 kids and you are like a super mom. And you and your kids are close. Very close. So let's talk about that dark time to be away from them or just being in their period. Tell us what that was like.
Believe it or not, it was much easier to not have my kids in the front of my mind. If I was thinking about them, I would have never made it through. So I had to like check in, call, ask them how they're doing, but I could not sit and think about my kids all day, or that would have drove me crazy.
So what did you do to get your mind off of them?
I was actually running my business. I was in jail running my business still. Like I was spending $1,000 a month on minutes calling to get I had a wonderful support system. Like I had so many people that were in place to help me, help with the business, help with my kids. So I stayed busy by running my business, praying 5 times a day. I got closer to God, got closer with my faith. Like I think this situation, God put me in it for a reason. And he didn't give me more than I could handle. It was a messed up situation. I wouldn't wish jail on anyone.
Anybody,
But he put me in a situation that I needed to be in. He had his reason. And I understand his reason.
Okay. So how were they doing? I know you got them off the front of your mind, but they are kids. So how were they
There were some my little ones. They don't really understand. They're
Mm-hmm.
2 and 4, so they're just like, "Where's mommy?" They're talking to me. My mom would tell me it would be times when my daughter would just be like, "I miss my mommy," like out of nowhere, say, "I miss
Oh,
my mommy." Yeah,
yeah,
I let my youngest son come see me because I know he didn't understand. Like
yeah.
he doesn't understand what's going on, but I didn't let my middle kids come see me. My
Okay.
oldest son, he came and saw me. For a while, we were telling the kids I was away for work,
Mm-hmm.
but we eventually told my older son the truth.
What was going on?
hmm
Okay, and how did he take it?
He broke down. He was sad. He had times where he was really sad, but he got through
Okay. Sorry, I was just saying the Okay, so what? And then the one up under him, you didn't let the two girls
it. No,
come. Okay, because
no.
I could only imagine how hard, like
How
to see
hard
that.
that
You know
would.
what I mean?
Yes, like I would have lost it. For
Yeah.
them to have to leave when you have a visit, the visits were 30 minutes.
Oh, that's
So
it.
yes, so
Oh,
for them to do a visit and then have to leave, that would have tore me up.
oh
Yeah,
outside of like
yeah.
you being away from the kids and not wanting them to see you, what was jail like? Like, let's get rid of like taking care of the business because you still got to be there for 90 days. Listen, I did a couple of days in jail, and I was like, baby, never. I ain't never doing nothing else.
I wouldn't
Like,
wish that. No sane person could wish that on anybody. No person with any kind of common sense could wish that.
and
And then the
yeah,
thing with me is I'm a mother of 4, I'm a business owner. My charge was bank fraud. My charge was not murder. I did not
mhm,
molest some kids. I didn't sex traffic anyone. I
mhm,
didn't even
mhm.
have any victims. Because if you want to consider the SBA a victim, they were never my victim. The SBA was set to make probably my loan. So the thing with the loans are they did the payments like a mortgage. So I know you
Mhm.
know all
Mhm.
about mortgage.
Mhm.
I believe, don't quote me, I believe my loan was for 20 years. The payback was for 20
Yeah.
years.
Mhm.
So, like, it's like a house. You buy a house, you could spend $200,000 on a house. After those 20 years, you're going to spend 600 plus. So, the bank,
Yes.
that's how the banks make their money.
They making
They're
bank
giving
on
out
it.
these
Yeah.
loans, but that's how they make their money. That's how banks survive from loans. People
Mhm.
pay back and you pay that interest for all those years. So the SBA would have made my loan. I got $70,000. The SBA probably would have made $300,000 off of my loan.
And here's the thing: they weren't the victim because you were paying your stuff
I was paying
back.
my stuff
So
back.
like you were absolutely right when you said
hmm
you had no victims. If anybody was a victim, it was
No
you
victims.
for self-sabotaging
hmm
behavior. Like how you
Yes.
said, like I shouldn't
hmm
have did this or went about it that way.
hmm
So yeah, yeah. So when you were there, was there anyone else there for the like? Were you
No,
there with like murderers
I
and
was there
like
with
yeah?
murderers. I was there with child molesters. I was there with baby
Oh,
killers. I was the only person that was there for a money crime. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the only person who's ever been there for a money
right,
crime,
right. But at that
but at
time, you
that
were the
time,
only okay.
I was the only person. These women were facing like 20 years,
Mm.
life, death. It was a couple facing a death penalty. It was just hard, but I had to keep my spirits up.
Yeah. Well, you did a good job because I could not have imagined. And then, like, just grooming yourself, like, just the shower
Oh my
situation and
God.
just happen.
Yeah.
I've never been in, like, prison like that. But, like, just going, the stuff that you see on TV, I'm quite sure
hmm
some of that's fabricated. But did you have to,
hmm
like, the open showers with everybody? Was it like
No,
that type of
it
situation?
was one shower. Well, it was 2 showers, but it was a single shower. So
Okay. So,
everyone
no, everybody
took.
went in there
A
together.
lot of
Okay.
people didn't take showers, so yes,
But,
a lot of people did not take showers. But yeah, we had
so
to.
was you like? I mean, this is definitely none of my business, but I would have been like, you don't ever want to take a shower, like you don't want to get in there for two
Girl, it
minutes
used to be arguments, and it was crazy. It was a
to take to
crazy. It was
because they
an
wanted them to
unreal
take a
place.
shower.
Yes, it was an unreal place because you have to think about it. We're in like a pod. So
Hmm.
everyone has like a cell. It's 2 people to a cell. So you're stuck in an enclosed place with no windows. So you want people to be fresh and take baths. Like I'm
Yeah,
a person, I mind my business. That's on you. If you don't want to take baths, that's on you. But once we're stuck in one area, I need you to take a bath.
yeah.
I need you to
Oh
take a
my God, I would have
shower.
been like, hey, even if it's 4 minutes, just go in there, let the water run down, hold your arms up or something. Like, oh my God. So, how did you feel as far as you took one.
Yes, I did.
Yes, I figured that you did, but
I hated
it though.
It was disgusting.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's mold and mildew all over. Like the jail, they did not. They need to be sued. They did not take care of women the way you're in jail, you're not in a hotel, but mold is illegal. You can't rent an apartment. You can't rent an apartment out to someone with mold everywhere. And then, these jails make so much money off of the people that house. I think I heard the feds, they get $1,000 per person per month, or so. It was some crazy numbers. Don't quote me on it, but I just heard that they make a lot of money off of imprisoning people.
Girl, that's insane. Well, you made it out. So do you have any encouraging words, not just for someone that's going through, I know you said that you've already been encouraging people that reach out to you that's going through a similar situation.
I'm not encouraging them to reach
No, people I mean, not encouraging them to reach out, but have some encouraging words for them, because if somebody reach out to you and be like, okay, so what about this? Or even a kid, or not even a kid, but maybe a teenager that could be watching this, or just anybody that could be watching this going through a similar situation as you, whether it be for that or something else. How would you encourage them? What words would you give to them?
Make sure if you're doing anything with banking, any loans or anything, because there's two parts to my situation. Make sure because I still put myself in a situation by not being on top of my paperwork. So make sure you do everything the legal way. You're on top of your paperwork. Any applications that are submitted in your name, make sure you go over the information. Make sure it's correct. Do not lie on any federal documents. Anything going to a bank, that is illegal. So make sure, you cross your T's and dot your I's.
Yeah. Okay. And then also
for young ladies, you have to know who you are attached to, what they have going on, whether that's a friend, that's a family. It could be your father, your brother. I had someone reach out to me about a relative has something going on, and then out of nowhere they're indicted. The girl reached out to me about her friend. I had so many people reach out to me, and what breaks my heart is they're all mothers. So it's just a terrible situation. And I tell everyone, and I told all these women, I want to give you encouraging words as much as I can, but everyone's situation is not like mine. Because a lot of people, people are going to jail for this. They're not just letting people off. My situation was much different. I'm paying these loans back. The FBI knows what it is with me. They knew what the situation was. They knew what they were using me for. So they weren't interested in sending me to jail. But other people, if you're not paying your loans, but you got those loans and you defaulted on them, or you never even really had a business and you got those loans, the situation might be much different. They look at what you spent on the loan. And with me, I got two loans in the beginning of 2020. I spent my loans on business. They'll put in the paper what you spent you got your body done, you bought a bag, they'll blast you for all that. In my documents, it says retail purchases. They were all retail purchases for my store. I opened up the store. I used it to grow my business, which is what the loans were for.
And you actually have a retail business.
Yes, I have the retail business. I opened up my store 2 or 3 months after I got my loan. My store opened up. I signed my lease in, I think, June. My first day open was in July, and I got my loans in, I believe, April.
Oh, okay.
So you can see the flow of the money, what my loans went on. When the FBI investigates you for anything, money laundering, bank fraud, they go all through your documents. They go all through your bank statements. They subpoena your banks they know every dollar that is sent out, every dollar that is spent, where it went.
See, that's why people need to stop listening to blogs and all of that stuff, because again, it's the paperwork and it's their interpretation
it's your
of it, and it's like that's not what happened.
And then it was fluffed up. So I had 5 charges.
Okay.
But they don't put in the paperwork that 2 of them were dismissed. When they did the article, they had I had a loan for people thinking I got $1 million loan. First of all, I did not get $1 million loan. It wasn't even a loan application. In 2021, this is when they're calling these applications were submitted. In 2021, that's a year after the pandemic initially kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, they've given out all these fraudulent all these fraudulent loans. The SBA is cracking down. At this point, you have to submit tax return. When I first did my loans, you didn't have to submit any information.
Oh, they was just
all they wanted was your EIN and how much did you make? Okay, you can get this amount. That's how the SBA was processing their loans.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But once I guess they start figuring out that people were getting fraudulent loans, they didn't really have these businesses. Now they want your tax returns, they want your documents, they want proof of, you know, a lot of proof. I've never submitted any false like bank statements. I've never submitted any fake tax returns. Yes. When I got my 2 loans, I just typed in my information. I had this amount of employees. And then the thing with St. Louis is I feel like anybody in the city of St. Louis, whether they know my business or not, they know someone who knows that these are real businesses. Yeah. They know my employees. They know.
You can drive by the store and see
on the application. I think I had 3 employees at Dami Moore. I've had probably 6 or 7 employees for Dami Moore that I'm still in contact with that would have showed up to court and said, yes, I'm an employee. I can show me paying payroll. I just didn't file my taxes for the payroll because I would pay them with a check from my business account, but I didn't file the taxes on them. I didn't 1099 them. But I actually did have employees. I actually did make the income.
So everything was true.
Everything was true. I just did not. I was not on top of my paperwork correctly. Yeah. And the 2 charges, it was one for like $1 million, 1 point something. It wasn't really an application. So the SBA website, you could go on. At this point, you can go on there and you can type in how much money your business made, and it'll show you how much you could qualify for. This was all me on the website just playing around. These were not submitted applications with fake documents or nothing, but that's the fluff of it all. Yeah. That's how they fluff it up and make it sound way worse than what it is. There was like a situation with a young lady, she got indicted, and in the news, they're like, she filed tax exempt. What did that have to do with anything? Yeah. Like, this is how they fluff it up to make it just sound so crazy. Yeah. So they weren't. I didn't submit any documentations. It wasn't a completed application. It was literally me on the website typing in how much would someone get if they had this income, and they
just used that.
Yeah, and they used that as me trying to get a loan.
So all of this, going through all of this. I mean, how did it affect you mentally? Like, I know you stayed focused, but it could have tore you down and you came out, like you literally came out and hit the ground running. Like you
jumped right back into it. I think it was a support system of it all. Okay. So, and my thing, like these so-called news, I'm not even going to say the name of the
I know you,
whatever. I have a degree in bachelor's and a master's degree in communication. So I would never identify these sites as news stations. All they're doing is going on a federal government website and copy and pasting what they see. They're not doing any investigation reports. They're not doing any journalism work. They're just copy and pasting what they're seeing online, and then they throw in a few ghetto slang to get everybody riled up and everybody hyped up.
Starting the captions off like just crazy.
Yeah. So it was like, if you have to, I think this is what helped my character, because I used to be someone who not so much as care what other people think. I just didn't want to be looked at in a certain way. Yeah. So the way that they attempted to humiliate me, if I wasn't strong, that could have tore me down. Yeah. But luckily, I was able to, I was going through so much. It's like, I don't care about none of that. And then I have the type of friends where my friends don't come to me and be like, girl, such and such said this, and that. We didn't even discuss these blogs. I've never looked at the blog. Yeah. I've never went to the pages to see what was said, who was in the comments. And
I think it piss you off, like just going, I'm not just on yours, but so anybody. Like Dallas went viral one time, the people, and this has nothing to do with an indictment, but they were in there like talking about her age, how she was dressed, and was like trying to come at me as a parent. And so I stopped. At first I wanted to respond to everything, and I'm like, y'all can have it because y'all don't know us in real life. So I can only, that's just something small to go. I'm so happy you did not look at any of this stuff and let it tear you down.
To this day, I still never went and looked at the comments. I never saw the blog post, like, cause I'm like that. for real. So I know I'll try to go and do something to somebody.
Yeah, because when you feel disrespected, it's like,
I've come way too far to even let that, to even backtrack with that. But I have like little sisters who they're like that as well. And but so they'll go back and forth with whoever. So my little sister, she was so bad. She was going off. Like, it was so, like, I really had a side. I don't even like to give clout to the negative or give energy or attention to the negative. I had so much support. My support outweighed everything. I had high ranking people where I can't even say who they are that were going to bat for me behind the scenes. That's high up people that were like, nah, this not cool. Like, going to bat for me behind the scenes, still reach out now and ask how I'm doing. It's like the support was so overwhelming. And it's like, when you look at the negative of things, you have to, someone asked me the other day, like, how did you feel about like people, even me just hearing that people were in the comments talking. They said that they said it had the more comments than any post that they had ever seen, more shares than any post that they had ever seen on these pages.
Ooh, do people just want to see somebody's downfall?
They do, and it's
y'all did all of that, and now look at you, like, and nothing happened.
I hate that for Black people. Like, it's in our community. The thing with Black people is and it's so sad and unfortunate, we're not used to seeing nothing. So when we see someone who has something or is doing better for themselves, it's how they get that, what they do to get that. It's like trying to find the negative that they can in a situation. Whereas when we see white people, we don't question why they have $1 million house. We don't question why their kids in good schools, why they have a car. Nobody questions that, because you feel that white people deserve that, but they feel Black people don't deserve that. And I hate that for our culture. I hate, like, I would hear, like, my sisters would say, girl, I didn't argue with this girl, and then I click her page, it say follow back. They following you. Like, it's so weird. Black women,
it is.
I hate it for us that a lot of these people, like a few names that I would hear, I have never heard of those names in my life.
In your life. And they
never been around them, never had a conversation, and it's like they, on the internet, like they hate me. And usually with Black women, we have an issue with other Black women over men is the number one thing. And a woman having something that we don't have. That should never cause you to hate a woman that you've never met, that has never done anything to you. And
it definitely not type of comment about, like, what you care that much about somebody you don't know.
It's the lamest thing in the world. And to be, with me being a mother of 4 children, my youngest is 2. My 2 youngest are 2 and 4. My oldest are 16 and 12. So I'm really a mother of small children, for real. So for you to rejoice or be happy or want to see me in jail, that says a lot more about your character than it could ever say about mine.
You. Absolutely.
And like, I pray for people like that, because you have to live the most pathetic, miserable life to be happy about that. Like, you could be my worst enemy in the world, I would never want to see you in jail. Like,
and especially away from your kids.
Why would you want to see, unless you didn't hurt a kid or you didn't kill somebody? Like, this is bank fraud we're talking about. I didn't sex traffic someone. I didn't, I didn't harm kids. I didn't
kill nobody.
Kids. I didn't kill anyone. I didn't leave kids in a hot car. I didn't neglect this is the bank fraud. And
that's right. People really want to see people fall that bad, and that's some hate. That's something they gotta take up with God, baby.
Why? What have I done? What, because I have a nice house, I have a nice car, you hate me that much that you want to see me
but in you jail? Worked for it. And even if it was handed to you, it don't matter. But I know you worked
my
hard for years for everything that you had.
And that's that was a major thing. Like, I had recently closed on my dream house that I worked so hard for years. And then it was told to me that people were like, yeah, that's how she got that house.
I don't think that 70 grand would have done it.
According to, if we listen to the comments, the 70 grand got me $1 million house, right? $200,000 car, $40,000 in jewelry, trips to Greece since I've been taking trips since 2014. It got trips. It got my body done. It got my school. Like that 70,000 went
a long way.
It went.
Teach me how to stretch 70 like that. That's like you
if
did.
I can do all that with $70,000, I can do that 4 or 5 times. I can do that. Like you do it then.
Yeah, right.
You get $70,000 and do all that, and then it's like you. People make it's like talking to a child. You would never sit and talk to your child about bills and grown people stuff because they don't know no better. If anyone knows any better, you cannot get a home with a SBA loan. And when you purchase a home, they're all between the government and mortgage, they get all in your business.
Listen, it's like you literally are signing when I bought my house and all the stuff I had to sign, I was like, are you serious? You have to stop moving certain ways, like stop doing this. Don't do that.
You go to Starbucks, they're looking and see why you spent $5 on coffee. Like and
why are you doing this 5 times a week?
They source every dollar that you spend. In the process of me closing on my house, I had like $100 balance on my American Express card, and they wanted me to pay it off. I had cash, so I just put the cash in the bank and paid it off. They wanted to know where that $100 came from.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like
they get people don't know. They don't understand.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not gonna argue with somebody who probably doesn't own a house, never bought a house, let alone never bought $1 million house. Right. And it's like people Google and have been all in my business. So
ain't even the down payment on it. Like
it's nowhere near the down payment on my home. And then again, this was in 2020. I purchased my house in 2023, at the end of 2023. To be honest, that $70,000 was gone within a month of me getting it. I literally spent it on my store, my image. I spent like $120,000 in inventory. Only $70,000 of that funded my inventory for my store. I had to buy fixtures. I had to pay. I'm on downtown on Washington. I had to pay for the lease.
Listen, I could not imagine how much
people have so many high hopes of what this $70,000 did. Who still has $70,000 from 2020 and 2023 anyway? Yeah, that money was long gone. And then on top of that, whenever you spend when you get convicted of bank fraud, the FBI, the government can take everything you spent that money on. If my loan had been spent on my house, they would have taken it. They would have taken my jewelry. They'll take jewelry.
They're taking everything. Like, baby, run me that. Come on, run me that.
They would have taken the jewelry, the cars, everything that the money was spent on that's a tangible good that they can physically take. They would have taken it. Yeah. But leave it to the people. That's what.
So that's why you can't argue with fools.
That's why you cannot argue with fools. I just be like, have at it.
Like, that's what you think? Okay, fine. Yeah. I could not imagine. So, okay, well, what beauty did you find out of all of this?
The beauty I found was my support. I did not realize how much support I had out here. Like it's so much beauty. And then my sisters, my mom, my friend, you. I had so much support. I had people who had never even met my kids sending them gift cards, sending them clothes, going shopping themselves and dropping off clothes and shoes for my kids. Like,
oh, that was nice.
That was unreal to me. Like, the support was so much. There were people sending words of encouragement through my friends, like reaching out. Like, the support was everything. So that was the beauty in the situation. Like, I realized who had my back and who would be there during times like
it's a testament of your character, though. Like, nobody would support somebody if they were like the scum of the earth and was this horrible person. You literally are on everything, on top of your business. I mean, you might not have been on top of this situation, like you said, but that one wrong is not gonna outweigh the thousands of things that you've done right.
And that's what pissed me off about, like, these blogs. I don't even want to call them news articles. These blogs. You'll post this, but you won't post the coat drives I've done, the giving back to families who've lost their home in fires, feeding the homeless that I've done. I give back. Those businesses that I got those loans for have given back more to the community than the loans that we receive. Right. I've given back. I do so much for people, and I don't do anything for people for something in return. I do it because it makes me feel whole to help someone out. Yeah. Like, I love to help other people any way that I can. So they don't post that.
Mm-hmm.
The day that I got, I pled when the news article, they went on the FBI website and copy pasted the information.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was someone who pled guilty to sex trafficking. It was someone who pled guilty to child porn. They didn't post
None of
any
that
of
was
that.
there, but your stuff was
But
there.
you're posting a woman, a mother, a hardworking mother, black business owner, mother of 4, to try and humiliate me, expose me, or something.
And it did nothing.
And it did absolutely nothing. I have so many businesses, corporate companies that still reach out for contracts, for bookings, for me to work with them. I had so many people that were running down just to shop my store, just to support, because they knew what was going on, booking my event space just to support, because they knew what was going on.
And I'm gonna put all of that. If you want to book with her, the event space, anything, I'm gonna put it in the look, I'm reaching over. My bad. I'm gonna put it in the description under this video. Mm-hmm. So that concludes Beauty After Incarceration. So thank you guys for joining in. Did you have anything else
you
want to touch on? Okay. So until next time, always remember that beauty still shines in the darkest of places. Bye.